hardships that lie ahead. In recent years, we have witnessed a significant increase in natural disasters, including earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, and wildfires, among others. The frequency of these events have left many people wondering whether these are the signs of the biblical end times that have been prophesied for centuries. The Bible tells us that the end times will be marked by various natural disasters, including earthquakes. Jesus himself foretold this when he said, "There will be great earthquakes, and in various places famines and pestilences, and there will be terrors and great signs from heaven." Luke 21 verse 11. The prophet Isaiah also spoke about the earth's destruction, saying that the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage. Isaiah 24 verse 20. As we look at the world around us today, we see many of these biblical prophecies coming to fruition. The number of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions has increased significantly in recent years, with some of the most devastating ones occurring in countries like Japan, Haiti, and Nepal. Hurricanes and floods have also become more frequent and intense, causing widespread destruction and loss of life. These natural disasters are terrifying to many people, but they are also a warning. They remind us that we are living in a fallen world that is marred by sin and corruption. The Bible tells us that the earth is groaning under the weight of sin, and the signs we are seeing are proof that this is indeed the case. But these signs are also an opportunity for us to turn back to God. They are a reminder that our time on earth is short, and that we need to be prepared for what is to come. We need to turn away from our sin and seek God's forgiveness and grace, for only through Him can we find true peace and security in the midst of the storm. For centuries, Christians have been anticipating the return of Jesus Christ, an event that has been foretold in the Bible. While no one knows the exact date of His return, there are numerous biblical prophecies that describe what will happen when He comes back. One of the most significant signs of Christ's return is the widespread apostasy, or falling away from the faith. As a believer in the gospel, I cannot help but notice the increasing trend of people turning away from their faith and abandoning the truth of the Bible. The Apostle Paul wrote about this phenomenon in his second letter to the Thessalonians. He warned that in the end times there would be a great falling away from the faith before the return of Jesus Christ. He wrote, "Let no one deceive you in any way, for that day will not come unless the rebellion comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed." 2 Thessalonians 2 verse 3. This prophecy is particularly relevant to our time as we see the world increasingly turning away from God and His teachings. The secularization of society has led to a loss of moral compass, and many people have embraced a worldview that is at odds with the teachings of the Bible. One of the most significant contributors is the growing popularity of false teachings and doctrines. The Bible warns us that in the end times, false prophets will arise, leading many to follow their deceptive teachings. Jesus himself warned us about this, saying, "For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect." Matthew 24 verse 24. We must be vigilant and discerning in our faith, testing everything against the truth of the Bible. We must also be prepared for the coming of Christ and live our lives in a way that is pleasing to God, always mindful of the fact that we do not know.
This is the balance of my account after I installed a tool that pays for watching videos in my cell phone. Each one of these notifications is a payment for videos I've watched on YouTube, and it also works for other platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and others.
In addition to the apostasy, there will also be many natural disasters and signs in the heavens. Jesus said in Luke 21 verse 25-26, "And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea, and the great roar in men's hearts, veiling them from fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken." Another significant sign of Christ's return is the restoration of the nation of Israel. The restoration of the nation of Israel is a miraculous event that was prophesied in the Bible and fulfilled in our lifetime. After nearly 2,000 years of exile and persecution, the Jewish people returned to their ancestral homeland in 1948 to establish the modern state of Israel. This event was not only significant in terms of world history, but it was also a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. The Old Testament prophets spoke of a time when God would bring the Jewish people back to their land and restore them as a nation. Isaiah 11 verse 11-12 says, "In that day the Lord will extend his hand yet a second time to recover the remnant that remains of his people. He will raise a signal for the nations and will assemble the banished of Israel and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth." Ezekiel also prophesied the restoration of Israel, saying, "Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I will take the people of Israel and the nations of God, and will gather them."
Oh, fucking bitch!
Ezekiel 37 verse 21. These prophecies were fulfilled in 1948 when the Jewish people returned to their homeland and established the state of Israel.
I
The
fucking could have
restoration
won
of
that
Israel
shit.
is not only a fulfillment of prophecy, but also a testament to God.
I got a neighbor, and right now, he's puking blood. Because he works right there in his part of it. People are going back to work because they have to. They need that money. Not like these big boys from North Fork. They're sitting behind a desk or sitting at home, kicked back in their chair, enjoying themselves. Because they got money coming in. Do they care about us? No, they don't even care about their own employees.
Sometimes a disaster is so overwhelming that it shocks people out of their political corners and brings really big problems into focus. That's what it's like in East Palestine. I grew up in this county. I lived 2 counties south on Route 7. The last time I was in East Palestine was for the Sweethearts Dance in 2007. I came back to find out what happened when a nearly 2-mile-long Norfolk Southern train carrying hazardous chemicals derailed and was detonated in spectacular fashion on the edge of town. We've been here for over a week. We've seen national figures and camera crews come and go, but what gets lost in so much of that coverage is that the people here still have a ton of unanswered questions. How safe is the air and water really? Who, if anyone, has the juice to square up with a $55 billion company that treats disasters as the cost of doing business? And will anyone step up to lead this time?
Nice to meet you guys. Yeah. Can I do an interview? Yeah. My name is Luke Lavin. I live a couple blocks from here on Alice Street. We're in East Palestine, pretty much ground zero where the train derailed. Friday night, my wife and I were playing Call of Duty. And we were just dragging around and we didn't know what the heck it was.
We was playing Call of Duty.
It was a spectacle, really. I kept telling my wife, "Oh my God, this is big. This is bigger than we're going to even ever imagine."
The train derailed on the edge of town late at night on February 3rd. 5 cars were carrying toxic vinyl chloride. Left alone, damaged cars would have gone off like
Damn.
so officials on the scene did what's being called a controlled release. A mushroom cloud of toxic chemicals filled the sky, stretching out for miles.
It was like hundreds of miles like that shit was out there. And I was just silent for a moment. That feeling, when people are gonna suffer or, something's horribly wrong with this.
2 days later, government and company-sponsored tests declared the air and water safe, and a mandatory evacuation order for residents in a 1-mile radius of the derailment was lifted. Minutes later, the trains were back on the tracks. And in the days and weeks since, residents have gotten very few answers to their many questions. So Luke, walk us through what communication has been like of really important information after this derailment.
I'm going to give you the shortest answer possible. There isn't. I mean, really, from Norfolk anyways. You're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, but they can't even give you the answers to some simple questions that even a little bit of research on Google can give you.
They're not talking, they're trying to protect themselves, so...
I mean, but they need to at least let us know what's going on, you know.
Norfolk Southern has been carrying out most of the major operations since the disaster, hiring contractors for the cleanup, the testing, everything.
When they did the test, I was actually crying as the team walked around because I said, there's no way in hell I'm going to smoke right now. I noticed. They said they didn't smell anything at all.
So you've had a test at your home. Who did that test?
That was C-Tech. That was a 7-month.
Oh, you fucking dirty bitch was waiting for me.
It turns out the initial testing used to justify the claim that East Palestine's water supply was secure was conducted by a third-party contractor
I'm finna play
hired
one
by
more.
Norfolk Southern in a way that didn't comply with the EPA's own testing standards. It begs the question of why the company that caused this disaster was ever...
Stop telling me you need to stay with your car insurance longer to get that back. A key component of human life is enlightenment, the awakening from the darkness of deception into the light of truth. The so-called Great Awakening has really been going on forever. And
So
before
cute, little
Maya
puppy
and
dog.
QAnon,
So
the
cute.
consensus was that the banks were at the top.
Want to go for a ride with me?
Pyramid structure.
Yeah.
And while
Yeah.
many of us assumed
Alright,
that
wait.
hand
One
was
more game,
pulling
puppy
their
dog.
strings as well, we realized that their main goal was a digital currency in a cashless society. It was the subject of several documentaries.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers. Right? There'll be no more cash. And this is getting me straight to Rockefeller stuff that they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what you
Everything.
sell.
Everything is in there.
And it was also commonly discussed that they'll likely use Big Pharma to get us there. But now it's as if everyone has just accepted it and found something else to fight about. Because the cashless society is being rolled out right now, and very few people seem bothered by it. In November of 2019, right before COVID, the Institute of Politics at Harvard Kennedy School had a live tabletop exercise called Digital Currency Wars, which looked at how the United States can continue to leverage economic power in a world of national digital currencies, such as the Chinese digital yuan, which is already heavily competing in trade against the US dollar and seems to be at the forefront of centralized digital currency. And it has an expiry date. If you don't spend it by then, it becomes worthless, so people can no longer save money. The Bank of International Settlements has announced that the central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations and will have technologies to enforce it. The Central Bank of Brazil is planning to launch their centralized digital currency in 2024. Israel is about to launch theirs, and the Bank of England is now preparing a UK digital currency. Italy's new Prime Minister, Meloni, is speaking out against the cashless society, but she seems to stand alone on the world stage. In the Federal Reserve's digital currency scheme, it appears that Hedera and Quant will be used on the technology side. They are already connected to everything. The cashless society is here, but everyone is talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. The tyrants are still getting exactly
Fucking
what they
distractions.
want. And once it's all said and done, then who will save you?
And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything.
But it doesn't matter if you are a political activist or an obedient sheep, because the banks are planning on taking all of your money to pay off their debts.
I mean, it's a little bit conflicted, right? I mean, it's important that people understand they can be bailed in, but you don't want to shoot them on this.
Yeah, I'm done with this bullshit.
Currently have less than
Oh, man.
$200 in assets.
Let's see what Zay got to think about this.
Over $9 trillion. That's just 1.3%. They know that a system collapse is coming, and they are already planning for bail-ins. As trust begins to fail, the people